Hello, welcome to the She's Free2Fly podcast, and so am I. My name is Deshaunda Lucas, and it is my pleasure, it is my gift, it is my opportunity, and I am so thankful for it. I am so thankful to be in the space and life that I can just really embrace this moment and really be present with it. I have been preparing for the She's Free2Fly podcast for some time. It has been in my spirit for quite a long time. And as some of you may know, I'm not the social media all out there kind of person. I'm real laid back. And sometimes, quiet to myself but I have a group of sisters and mothers who stand beside me and encourage me and have walked with me through this journey called life. And I'm just really thankful for it. I am truly thankful. And I guess I'll start off in the place of why. Why launch the She's Free2Fly podcast? Because one thing I know about me is my purpose. And my purpose is to give the love of God so that others may receive and share his grace. That's my purpose. My purpose is to give people the love of God. And She's Free2Fly is just a vehicle to do that. I don't think God is really concerned about how we do certain things, what vehicle we use to do them. He just wants the job to get done. And so my purpose is to give people the love of God so that they may receive and share it with others. So we're going to talk about just where a lot of things come from. We're going to have cross-generational conversations between women. And for young women specifically, but I know that women of all ages will be able to take something from this, young and old, because I learned from women who are younger than me, my age, older than me, and it's really just, we're going to just share that information. We're going to be a guide. I myself have a 20-year-old daughter who you will hear me talk about literally all the time. She is my magic. She is my why. She is like all that I ever could have hoped for. And I am so blessed to be her mother. Like, if there was an agreement between heaven, God had grace on me in that moment. So I'm thankful. We will also discuss topics of forgiveness and what that does for one. We will discuss topics on health. We will support one another. I believe when we support one another, we can truly achieve our goals. For example, I am not in the podcasting business, okay? I am not in the technology and equipment business. Now, I can do some things with a computer, right? But the camera and audio equipment and mixers and all of that, that's not my gifting. But I called on some of my girlfriends and they came over last night, and it was about 5 of us. And we just read directions in YouTube, and they just really supported me in getting this together. And that is what we are here to do for one another. Oh, I did feed them, y'all. I did. I got some nice salad with salmon, and we had wine, and another girlfriend brought a charcuterie board over, and we had soup, and we just really had a great time in fellowship. And that's what we're going to do here on the show. We're going to fellowship. We're going to fellowship with one another. At some point, we will allow listeners to call in and have some conversations over the phone. But I will be doing quite a few interviews as well. I have some very interesting people lined up that can share their story, that will share the things that they overcame to be free to fly. And we will talk about the healing that takes place in that journey as well, and the importance of finding peace within oneself. There's so much to discuss. We have so many different experiences, and we can truly, truly learn and grow from one another. And I've never been one to shy away from telling my story. It is mine, right? And I believe with everything in me that the worst things in my life created the best in me. And trust me, I have been through some very difficult experiences in life, but I'm thankful, and I stand in grace in them, and I stand in love in them, and I share that grace with you, and I share that love with you. And I just want to operate just out of my gift. And when I know what my gift is, like I know what my gift is, when it comes to talking to younger women, I definitely have a gift in there. I've worked with teenagers when I was like in my early 20s. I was working with teenagers back then, and some of my babies, like they're in their 30s now. So I'm happy about that, and they're doing amazing things. And I've had this podcast on my mind for quite a while. Like at the beginning of COVID, I actually bought like the microphone and really started entertaining the idea, but it wasn't time to move on it then. I was inundated with, life, at the time. And this past April, my daughter was doing study abroad in Greece. And so for her spring break, I met her in Istanbul, and then we went to Morocco and spent some time together. And my final leg of the trip was in Greece. So in Greece, she talks about her relationship with her mom all the time. And I took a bunch of her girlfriends to dinner. So I want to say it may have been like 8 to 12 of us. Probably about 12 of us at dinner. And they sat down and they were just talking, and we were talking, and they were asking questions, and I was just sharing with them my experiences and my thought. And they were sitting at the table, and one young lady said, she's like, "Mr. Shonda, you really need to start a podcast." And the other was like, "Yes, you really need to start a podcast." And I'm like, I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, I really have all of the equipment at home, right? But I was like, you know what? It's time. And I knew it was time because I know the journey that I have been on this year, and it has been a journey of just embracing myself, a journey of, when I say true healing, I'm talking about going all the way back healing things that a lot of time we think we've healed from certain things just because we've, got them out of the way, or we don't really let it affect our lives. But when I talk about true healing, like, this has been a year, right? It has been such a glorious year, and I am just very thankful for my experiences, and we're gonna talk about it, right? And the other thing I want to share with you is the name She's Free to Fly. So my daughter, we'll call her Magic for right now because that's her nickname, Magic. Magic has probably been to every kind of school you want to think of, right? Because when she was growing up, it was very important to me. I was very intentional on what do you need at this moment. So each year, like, there was almost an assessment of what do you need in this moment? What area do you want to grow? Do I want you to grow in from a little girl? And probably it was when she was going in towards middle school. And by then, Magic had she started off in like regular pre-K, a regular pre-K program, to the neighborhood elementary school when she first went to kindergarten. And before that, she had already been exposed to a school environment. When she was like 2 or 3, there was this lady who kept her, and she would sit them down around the table, and so she was already had the self-control to sit and be in school and learn. But when she got to kindergarten, like, they were drawing sticks and stuff, and I'm like, baby, she can draw more than some sticks, okay? And so I put her in this small African American Christian private school. And so that is where she learned how to read. And her teachers were so wonderful. I still think of them to this day. And they, taught her the importance of creating her masterpiece. So everything was very intentional. Then when she got to a certain point, I was like, okay, you need more exposure. So then she went to a very large white private school. And she did that for a year. It was a very different experience. And we moved. So we were in a different school district. So she went back to the regular public school. So this is at 4th grade. So 4th and 5th grade, she's going to school. And I was thinking about her going into middle school. Now, I have been a teenager myself, and trust me, we will discuss some of that. And that was, I made it, baby, by His grace and mercy. Okay, it's called great. This is grace and mercy. Yeah. So I took her, and I said, you know what? I want to homeschool her. I'm going to be her guide. So the December of 5th grade year, before they started the second semester, I decided to homeschool Mariah. And when I decided to homeschool her Christmas present, I literally did a classroom in my basement for her. And on the first day of school, when she went, well, not on the first day of school, on Christmas, when she walked down and she saw a computer and her desk and all this kind of stuff, on her board, I wrote, "You're free to fly. You're free to learn. You're free to grow. You're free to see how you learn." And that is what it was all about for me. It was, let me be her guide and give her the space to figure out what works best for her. So she was free to fly. Okay. Now we're going to progress all the way through high school, and she had different experiences there as well. But when she got ready to go to college, she was like, well, Mommy, I want to go to college in California. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And a lot of my family was like, what in the world? Why are you letting her go all that ways? Because we're in Georgia. We live right outside of Atlanta, and she's going to school in San Francisco. So that was a lot. That was a lot. And I'm just like, she's free to fly. She's free to fly. I raised her that way. We've traveled. We've had different experiences, but she's free to fly. And so she left and she went to school. And her freshman year, we were home because of COVID. But that sophomore year, she was on campus, and she had a great experience. She decided to study abroad. And so now she wanted to go to Paris to go to school. She did that, and she went to school in Greece. And I realized she's free to fly, but so am I. And that brings me to the She's Free to Fly podcast. I am free to fly as well. This year, I have had the opportunity to learn and grow and just try different things that I've never tried before. And I'm so thankful for it. And we're going to go on this journey. And I would love to hear how each of you have become free to fly in your lives and what experiences you've had. Because you are as well. And I just want to share that, we can be free to fly. She is free to fly. You are that she. I am that she. We're going to learn some lessons. We're going to cry a little bit. We're going to laugh a lot. We're going to sip some tea. I'm old enough, so we may sip some wine as well. Oh, I have a wine surprise for y'all. One of my guests is such a great surprise. I have been meeting the most wonderful women throughout this year. When I say, I was at church a few weeks ago, and I met the most beautiful spirit, right? And I introduced her to another girlfriend of mine. And sometimes some women, they don't connect their friend groups and stuff like that, but that's just not me. If you cool, you cool, and we can all come together. But God told me, He said, for every person you connect, I'm going to let you meet someone else. And so I have been meeting such wonderful women, in particular this year, that I'm so thankful. And we're going to bring some of them onto the She's Free to Fly podcast. We're also going to have magic on the She's Free to Fly podcast. So we're going to have some conversations. And I know some of her friends have some things they want to share and questions they have to ask. So that's what we're going to be doing. Well, thank you for perching with me. It has been such an honor and a pleasure for you to join me for the birthing of She's Free to Fly. Be sure to follow on Facebook and Instagram at She's Free to Fly. You can also subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, She's Free to Fly. And the viewing of the podcast will be on our YouTube channel, She's Free to Fly Podcast. So I look forward to perching with you every Tuesday at 5 a.m., where we will gather and share these cross-generational conversations between women. I pray that you leave receiving my love, feeling the grace of God, and sharing that grace with others.